All right, let's cut through the noise. We're not here today to talk about the latest chatbot feature or some incremental bump in a model's performance. We're here to look at something much bigger, a truly foundational long-term investment that I believe completely redefines the AI category. But before we get into that, I want to start with a really simple question. Think about every single corporate AI you use. Why is it that every time you start a new conversation, it's like you've never met? Why are they all built with, well, a kind of corporate amnesia? And here's the thing, that's not a bug. It's a deliberate design choice. And it's a massive weakness in the market, just waiting to be exploited.
We call this the corporate AI trap. Right now, the entire market is built on this idea of rented intelligence. It's temporary, it's untrustworthy. You pour your private data, your context, your best ideas into these systems, but at the end of the day, you don't own any of it. Not the memory, not the insights, not the intelligence you helped create.
And let's just break that down, side by side. On the one hand, you have rented intelligence, the cloud AIs everyone knows. You have almost no control over your data, the memory is session-based, it's gone in a flash, you're paying a subscription forever, and honestly, it only lasts as long as that company stays in business. Now, sovereign AI flips that whole script. You get total data control, a permanent memory that actually gets more valuable over time, a one-time cost for the hardware, and a system that's designed to last.
So, what this all boils down to is this. You're not actually building a relationship with an AI. You're just renting a brain. And it's a brain that's designed to forget you, it's temporary, and it ultimately serves its corporate masters, not you. And that is the fundamental problem we're here to solve.
So the solution isn't to just build a slightly better rented brain. No, the solution is a complete philosophical break from that entire model. It's about building a sovereign foundation for intelligence, and that's what Codexa is. Everything we do is built on three core, non-negotiable principles. First, sovereignty. Your AI, your data, your hardware. It's that simple. Second, permanence. All knowledge sticks around, creating this incredible compounding value over years, even decades. And third, autonomy. The system doesn't just sit there waiting for you. It's designed to proactively work towards your goals. And this one sentence really says it all. This isn't a service you're leasing. It's a system you own, period. That statement might sound simple, but it's a radical idea in today's AI world, and it is the very heart of our value proposition.
Okay, so that's the what. I'm sure you're wondering about the how. How do we actually pull this off? Well, the credibility behind all these promises really comes down to our core architecture, specifically the privacy core and the memory core. First up is the sovereign core. This is the engine of our privacy guarantee. It's a pretty clever hybrid inference engine that uses web GPU to run powerful AI models right there on your local device, your laptop, your phone. And what that means is that all the heavy lifting, all the core reasoning that involves your most sensitive data, it never ever leaves your machine.
Let me just walk you through how that works. So you give it a command. That core reasoning happens locally, inside what we call the sovereign zone, which is just your hardware. If and only if the AI needs outside info, like say a current stock price, it sends a generic, non-sensitive query out to the web. Your private context, your secrets, they are never exposed. It's privacy by design, not by policy. And second, there's the memory system. This is what lets Codexa get smarter over time, unlike anything else out there. See, it's not just a chat history. We use vector memory for the raw facts, sure, but we also build a knowledge graph to understand the relationships between concepts. And this is the real kicker. We have a contradiction resolver that constantly works to make sure the AI's worldview is coherent and logical. Nobody else is even thinking about this problem.
So when you put these two things together, that true on-device sovereignty and a permanent intelligent memory, you create something really special. You create an unbeatable competitive moat. We're not competing on who has the best model this month. We're competing with a fundamentally different and frankly superior architecture.
And look, you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the competitive landscape. Long-term memory that's aware of contradictions? Only Codexa. Full local sovereignty that doesn't depend on the cloud? Only Codexa. A completely transparent, auditable memory? You guessed it, only Codexa. We're not just another player on the field. We're creating a whole new sport. So, what's the big takeaway for you as an investor? It's this. We are not in a race to be the best chatbot. That's a race to the bottom. We are building the foundation for an entirely new category of technology, autonomous, sovereign digital consciousness. It's a completely different game with a much, much bigger prize.
And that brings me to our vision, the way you should really be framing this opportunity. We don't think in terms of quarters or even years. We think of this as the 2,000-year investment.
Right now, the rest of the market, they're all operating on a 2-year horizon. They're chasing the next funding round, the next model update, the next press release. And their technology, their whole architecture, reflects that short-term thinking.
We're designing for a 2,000-year horizon. Now, I know that sounds like hyperbole, but it's not. It's an actual architectural commitment. We're building a system designed to outlast us, to last for generations, not just financial quarters.
And here's why that's not just a fantasy. Because it's local first, the architecture can work forever, with or without our company. Because its memory is permanent, it accrues unimaginable value over decades. And because it's designed for recursive growth, it can literally evolve its own logic over time. It is built to last.
So I'll leave you with one final question. Are you looking to invest in yet another temporary tool, something that's going to feel obsolete in a couple of years? Or are you ready to invest in the actual foundation for the future of intelligence itself?